Apparently, if you are the mayor of a major city and you tell the press that you will not take interviews from any reporter of a specific race, not only will you get applauded and back patted by the media itself, you'll also end up getting sued for being horrifically racist. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who has decided that she will not grant interviews to any white reporters. I guess. I guess. And now, predictably, she is being sued, this time by the Daily Caller. Let's have a look at what's going on. I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer. I'm also a legal and political commentator on YouTube and on Odyssey. Wherever you're watching, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and make sure you turn on your notifications so you don't miss any video uploads, all right? You gotta catch the uploads. You want to be on top of this stuff. Let's get into this. Mayor Lori Lightfoot of Chicago is sued by the Daily Caller after not granting an interview to a white reporter. The lawsuit alleges that Lightfoot purposefully discriminated against Thomas Catenacci as part of her policy to only grant sit-downs to journalists of color. Now, she made the news, I think it was earlier this week or maybe it was last week, with this announcement that she would not be granting any interviews to white journalists. And because racists always have a reason, right? Like they always, she said that's what the media would have you believe, is that they always have some reason. She does not going to grant any sit downs with white reporters because she wants the press in Chicago to be more diverse. That's her stated goal. So in an effort to raise diversity in Chicago, she's going to just not take interviews from white people. But that is still racism. That is still discrimination based on skin color. That is still something that this country and a lot of people in this country fought very hard against for a very long time. And when we won with that, I thought everybody was happy about it. But apparently that's not true. Apparently that's not true. People are not actually happy about that outcome, and they do not want people to be free from discrimination based on their skin color, so long as they're white, I guess, is the new fad. But that's how it's going. So let's take a look. Conservative watchdog Judicial Watch has sued Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot on behalf of the Daily Caller News Foundation, the group announced Thursday, over her policy of granting interviews to only non-white reporters. So Judicial Watch are the ones who are going to be taking up the legal burden of this on behalf of the Daily Caller. The lawsuit, filed in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division, alleges Lightfoot violated reporter Thomas Catenacci's equal protection rights under the 14th Amendment when she didn't respond to multiple requests for interviews, as well as his First Amendment rights. Now, this kind of gets into a complicated thing because Lori Lightfoot is not obligated to grant anybody any sort of interviews at all. That would be compelling the speech of a government official. And even though they're government officials, we're not really compelling their participation in these sort of things. We want them to participate. We want the media to have access to these people, but you can't really compel it. And they're free to decline interviews all day. What they're not free to do is they're not free to pick out a protected category and decline interviews to that protected category. And one of the biggest protected categories is, of course, race. It's been a driving force behind the 14th Amendment since its inception following the Civil War, and race has been a driving factor in lots of applications of the 14th Amendment and its equal protection clauses throughout the history of the amendment itself and its interpretation in the courts. We don't want disparate treatment based on race. And Mayor Lightfoot's policy has real impact in this case, because typically you would have to jump through a lot of hurdles to show that she was only excluding white people, right? Like she wasn't turning down other interviews or whatever. But her publicly stated policy is facially discriminatory. She openly stated she will not be granting interviews to white people. That's what she said. So this guy requested an interview, got turned down, and is now suing. The lawsuit filed. So it says that she violated his equal protection rights under the 14th Amendment when she didn't respond to multiple requests for interviews, as well as his First Amendment rights. And it is a violation of a First Amendment right, but only when implicated by the 14th under the Equal Protection Clause. Lightfoot made waves earlier this month when she announced she would only grant one-on-one interviews to Black and brown reporters upon the 2-year anniversary of her taking office, scolding the Chicago media for its overwhelming whiteness. Okay. Preventing journalists from doing our jobs is such a blatantly discriminatory way. In such a blatantly discriminatory way is wrong and does a disservice to our readers who come from all backgrounds, Catanacci said in a statement. Every journalist and every person who consumes the news should be concerned by Mayor Lightfoot's actions. This affects everyone. I look forward to holding the mayor accountable. Now, predictably, as I kind of teased in the introduction, Lori Lightfoot got a great public reception from this from the media. The media who is so hateful of white people right now. I guess I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's hate of white people or if it's love of these notions of diversity or whatever. The wokeness that they're giving into, for lack of any better term, really, said, no, this is good. We want racial discrimination. That's what we're after. That's what they're so happy about that. And it's a weird thing to see the celebration of overt, blatant racial discrimination, especially coming from the mayor of a major city. I mean, she only announced the policy about white reporters, but what about white members of her staff? What about white government workers in the city of Chicago? How are those people supposed to take this stuff? These are all questions, by the way, that would be raised by the ACLU, by the media, if this were a white mayor saying it about Black interviewers. It would be immediately denounced as horrifically racist, as completely unacceptable. There would be probably a campaign to remove them from office, if not outright kill them. And I don't even say that as a joke. Like, the way things are right now, that opinion is not acceptable. And I actually agree that that's not an acceptable opinion from a public official to espouse and to have a policy that openly discriminates based on race. But that being said, normally the media and the ACLU would be on top of this. They're shockingly kind of just letting it go. Lightfoot's office did not return a request for comment. According to the complaint filed with the courthouse, Catanacci sent Lightfoot emails on May 20th, May 21st, May 24th, requesting interviews about her administration's efforts to vaccinate Chicagoans and other coronavirus issues. The lawsuit alleges Lightfoot purposely discriminated against Catanacci because of his race, according to her own stated policy. Lightfoot was interviewed last week by MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle, who is white, making it unclear if she was reserving her race-based policy for only local journalists. Catanacci is defined in the lawsuit as a national reporter who covers the economy, politics, and labor issues. All right, so really quick, one of the issues that is probably going to come up is, I believe Lori Lightfoot said that she would only grant to local non-white reporters, leaving ambiguous the national level reporting. And that may be why she went on Stephanie Ruhle's show. Now she may try to defend herself by saying he's a national reporter. However, the overt statement is still there. It is discriminatory, and it leads to a chilling effect on white journalists requesting interviews, covering stories. These are real issues for First and 14th Amendment questions, and we'll have to see how the lawsuit goes. But as of right now, this lady, Lori Lightfoot, is implementing an overtly facially racist policy to the applause of the media, to the deafening silence of groups who would typically speak out against it, and is now being sued for it. Follow along. We'll see what happens with this one. Until next time, Thanks for watching. Drop a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Peace. Peace.